Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Um, Kate Wyatt, you have an extensive experience as a pianist. You have been accompanying Yannick Rieu, among others, for several years. For those who know you a little less, can you tell us about your musical background?
Yes. Well, originally I'm from Victoria in British Columbia. So I went to a high school there that had a really strong jazz program. So after I graduated from there, I applied to McGill University in their jazz program, and I was accepted there. So I did my undergraduate degree at McGill University. And since then, I've just been working professionally as a pianist. So I've done a lot of work, as you said, like being an accompanist with all kinds of different musicians. And always along the way, at the same time, I've always been composing my own music
Mm-hmm.
and doing my own thing. But I'm also a mom. I have two kids. So when my kids were littler, it was harder for me to really do my projects as much.
Yes.
So it's within maybe the past like 5, 6 years or so that I've really been able to concentrate like on
Mm-hmm.
my projects. So I have like a quartet, I have a trio. That's mainly what I do now, is sort of trying to book my own music.
Yes, and we like it a lot.
Thank you.
And can you tell me a little bit more about which artists have influenced you?
Oh, it's funny. I mean, not really funny, but there's a lot of jazz musicians and piano players who have influenced me, but I don't think you would hear it so much in the way that I play piano. But I'll let you know anyway who they are. Like the first person who ever really influenced me musically was Oscar Peterson.
Mm.
I started to listen to him when I was just like a young teenager, and I listened like so much, and I love his music. But I don't think I play at all like what he sounds like. But really, he was like a huge influence. I think a little bit later, maybe Herbie Hancock
Mm.
was another huge influence. Like I've listened to everything he's ever done, and I owned all his albums and all of that. Especially like at university, I was like pretty obsessed. Um, but it's also not just piano players. Like for composition, I really love Kenny Wheeler, the trumpet player. He's been a huge influence on me. I even got to play with him, perform with him, and study with him a little bit,
Oh, wow.
like many years ago, but it was really, really cool. Really, like a huge part of my life. And besides that, maybe people like Wayne Shorter and Thelonious Monk. So they are all quite different, I guess, if you think about it, all these musicians, but I think maybe you could hear a little bit of each of them in my playing. It's hard to say.
Yes. Oh, that's very interesting. Um, and you released your first album, Artifact, in 2022 as a quartet with Lex French on trumpet, Adrian Vedadi on double bass, and Jim Doxas on drums. That was a very good album. We made a critics on Media Jazz about it for people who are interested in reading that. And your second album, Murmuration, how did this project come about?
um, this project was started during the COVID pandemic. So during that time, we didn't have gigs very much, and we didn't have a lot of things to do musically. So what we did instead is we tried to just play together at home or even outside sometimes, like when we weren't allowed to be indoors with other people, you
Yes.
know. Um, so the bass player on that album is my husband. So we lived together, which was really great during the pandemic. And the drummer on the album, Louis Vincent Hamel, is someone that Adrian, my husband, had played with quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were looking just to get together to do sort of small sessions at the home, he was like, "Oh, let's call Louis Vincent. He's so great, and you're gonna love his playing." So we called him over, and then we just started wanting to play like at least every week, like at least as much as we could, except for when it was really like not allowed. We would get together all the time, and like we're all really into composing, so we would all bring in songs that we were working on, and we would help each other almost like with our sort of help each other with each other's compositions, to give each other ideas, give each other feedback. And if someone had an idea like, oh, I have this song, maybe it could go like this or like that, we could try both ways of doing it and, sort of help each other, just help each other figure out our own music. And just through playing together so much, like I feel like we really just developed this love of playing together and this really cohesive group sound.
Yes,
together.
totally.
And then it became, okay, I mean, to us it just became obvious. Like it's been many years now that we've just said we have to record. We want to record a trio album, but of course these things take time. So finally now we did it, and that's the sort of basic story of how it came to happen.
Yes, but we can really hear on this particular album this alchemy that you have with the trio. It's really amazing. It's really nice to hear. Um, and I would like to talk about the first track of the album, Mac the Knife. Was inspired by the musical theater, The Three Penny Opera. Was that an inspiration for the album?
Well, I think that was an inspiration for Adrian, because Adrian actually was the one who took that song and kind of rearranged it with this different harmony. So I don't know if you know, but like jazz musicians, we have not have to. We play that song Mac the Knife like a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's at like cocktail gigs and stuff like that. And it's sort of just always the same. And we don't really think about it that much because it's such a common song that people play. So I think what happened is one day Adrian sat down and he read the lyrics to really understand. And it's this super dark song. It's like about murder. It's really dark. And so he just like sat down at the piano. I actually heard him doing this. And all of a sudden he started to come up with all these chords with a bit more of a darker sound, darker harmonies. And it just took him like 5 minutes or something. It was really cool. He just sat there and really quickly he came up with this arrangement. And I was listening from the other room and I loved it. And so then, of course, the next time that we got together with me and him and Louis Vincent, we just decided to play through it and explore it. And we realized that what it did is it really allowed us to go on this wild exploration, like to take it pretty far from the original.
Yes.
And, that's kind of our whole thing together. The three of us, we sort of support each other musically and allow each other to really explore very far in the harmony and the melodies and stuff like that, rhythmically. So I love this version that he came up with, and I think we wanted it to be the first thing on the album because it's like perfectly exemplifies that attitude that we have when we're playing of exploration.
And we can really tell on that particular track that you deconstruct the song completely to rearrange it in a new way, and it's very interesting. And why I was asking if it was the inspiration for the album, because I noticed that there's a lot of contrast on the album, and there's a lot of almost theatrical music all through the album, and it's very interesting. I can almost say that it how can I say that it's very fluid. It's very it's there's a lot of contrast with sometimes it's soft, sometimes the movements are stronger, sometimes it's very square, and sometimes it's very fluid. I love all this contrast on the album. Is it something that you think through, or it's something that you just come up with?
That's a great question, because maybe it's like a little bit of both. I think whenever I compose a song, I have a mood or a theme in mind. And I'm often inspired by nature. Sometimes it's things like that. It can be different things. And so I always explain to the other musicians, like, what my thought was about the song. And so I feel like we enter playing the song together, like, with that same mood. And we sort of create, like you said, it could be almost like theater. I love that, that parallel that you drew to it. Like we were trying to tell a story almost.
Yes.
So in that way, it's in a little bit of a way it's planned. But I would also say that when we're in the moment of creating together, like, we're not thinking about things very consciously. Like, once we're into the improvisation, it just flows really freely. And sometimes we just explore in really different ways, and we could arrive sort of anywhere. It just is whatever happens in the moment. It might be more, like you said, more introspective or softer or maybe high intensity or anything. It's just sort of like, yeah, we're open to whatever might happen in the moment, I would say.
And can you tell me a little bit about the creation of the album? Which steps were more intuitive and which were more challenging?
Oh, that's a good question. Obviously, playing the music together was very easy and intuitive. That was no problem. We had almost too many songs to record. I mean, we have so much material. Creating the music together is easy and intuitive. Absolutely. But then, of course, to make an album, there's a lot more that goes into it besides just playing the music. So, we had to book the studio. We had to organize ourselves for that. That was okay too, because we also have a lot of experience, each one of us, doing recording sessions and things like that. But then there's a lot more after that to create the album. You have to get the cover designed. You do a photo shoot. You have to do all this stuff on the computer, entering your music into databases and things like that, which for me is much more challenging. Writing grant applications,
Yes.
doing promotion, all that kind of stuff. I find that is much less intuitive and easy. It can be a challenge for sure for creative musicians.
Oh, I see, I see. And we talk about the musicians. Now I would like to talk about a little bit about the music to our listeners. Things that I really love about the album. There's few things that I really have to say that it's a very good album. First of all, it's a very rich sounds. The sound is incredible. The trio really fills the space. We can feel like we are in the center of the stage. I really highly recommend to listen at this album with headphones because it's really something that you will immerse yourself in the music. I really appreciate that. As I told earlier, there's a lot of contrast. It's something like you really could almost listen to a movie listening to that album. And there's something special. Maybe I have a lot of imagination. I don't know, but I can tell. Like for me, the song "Sunrise" and "Going to the Sun" was almost like being in a sunny day, and finding the song "Finding" was almost like a rainy day for me. It was always very intuitive and very like mellow. You can really sense the music come around. It's very interesting, and also there's very beautiful double bass solos from Adrian Vedadi, notably in Ambers and Bardo. Louis Vincent Hamel stands out on the album. It's really support the narrative, and I can tell Kate Wyatt takes more of her place on the forefront than in Artifact, and we love it.
Thank you.
We really love it. You take your place, and we love it. It's very great. So thank you,
you so
Kate
much.
Wyatt. Thank you for this interview, for giving us such a beautiful album featuring Adrienne Vedadi on double bass and Louis Vincent Hamel on drums. And finally, Murmuration album is available on all the platforms. We say Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, and CDs. We also have like the album launch was in upstairs the past October 5th, and we had an album launch also in Ottawa. And coming, we're having an album launch, in Kingston in November 11th. So if you want to see Kate Wyatt every Wednesday at Brasserie Beaubien with special guests. So
Well, thank you so much.
you're
It's
welcome.
been great chatting to you.
Yes,
so
me
wonderful to
too.
get a chance to talk about the music, and thank you so much for all your kind words. I really appreciate it.
I really love the album, and I really recommend people to buy this album, to offer this album. It's a really great album. So thank you, Kate Wyatt, and see you soon.
Thank you.